Hi, I'm Ebony Love, owner of LoveBug Studios and award-winning author, quilter, designer, and fabric die cutting expert. In the last 4 years, I've published 6 books about quilting and die cutting, the first of which reached number 13 in its category rankings on Amazon and won an Indie Book Award from the Independent Book Publishers Association. Many people refer to me as the die cutting queen and seek my advice and expertise on a variety of topics, but it wasn't always that way. At the time my award-winning book, The Big Little Book of Fabric Die Cutting Tips, was published, I'd only been a quilt professional for about a year and die cutting for 2. In fact, when I started die cutting, I was so clueless about how it worked that I ordered a die all by itself and had to call the company and ask them how it worked. They asked me what machine I owned, and I was forced to admit that I had no idea that there was a machine involved and that I knew nothing. You know, I joke with people all the time about leaving their machines in the box when they're new, but imagine being so new that you have a die but no cutter at all. Eventually, I found a group online made up of quilters who were just about as new as I was, and together we helped each other learn about our machines and shared the tips and techniques that we needed to be successful. After a while, more people found our group, and we'd start getting the same questions over and over again, not just weekly or daily, but sometimes even within hours of each other. Some of the veteran members were getting annoyed at having to answer the same questions, so I suggested that someone start collecting them into a file so we could share it with new members. As it happened, that someone turned out to be me. But you know, too often people complain about a situation but don't want to be part of the solution. But I remembered what it was like to be new and how intimidating it was to ask questions and expose my own ignorance. I remember the frustration of wanting to search for something but just not knowing the cutting terminology well enough to get results. I also made some expensive mistakes, and I didn't want anyone else to go through that. I never wanted to be the person who punished someone for not knowing something or made them feel bad for daring to ask a question. At the end of the day, I wanted people to understand that they had choices so they could make the best decision for themselves about what cutting equipment they wanted and what they needed to enhance their quilting experience. So that's why this work is so important to me, and why I've dedicated myself to being a consumer advocate and educator in this area. I became the expert just by being willing to put myself out there and creating a safe space in which people could learn.